Time now for our talk tonight. Just after 5:30, the chief of public safety at Syracuse University says police have been responding to 4 instances since May at Acropolis Pizza on Marshall Street. Actions of violence there. He says he feels an obligation to let students know that there are some problems. Most recently, there was a stabbing reported over the weekend. Meanwhile, Acropolis's owner says SU's advice was ridiculous about avoiding his shop, saying that the shop's not responsible for those incidents. We're wondering how much of a role, if at all, does the location of these businesses play in student safety, and we're also talking about some of the other concerns about possibly Syracuse gang members going up on the Hill to find, well, new targets for crime. Michael Benny joins us tonight from CBS 5, as he does every night at this time. And this is interesting, that police and public safety, Syracuse University, first of all, is typically very reluctant to release any information about issues of public safety until it reaches a threshold where they have widespread concern. And that must be where they are right now.
They did. They came out with this big alert, a very lengthy email going out to students in the campus, across the university campus tonight. It's really interesting here because Syracuse police are saying that they believe that these gang members may be going to some of the off-campus parties and may be going to Marshall Street as well. SU was very quick to point out that students are not the target here of violence. But nevertheless, it's really concerning that gang members may be, tromping around near campus. Especially
maybe if you're a parent, you're hearing about your college-age student going to SU and being concerned about this.
This has been such an insulated area of the city when it comes to crime. The crime has generally, it's generally been low-level crime.
Violent, not as much violent crime.
Not as much violent crime. So this is a sea change where we have the city police department saying that we know of gang members who either are targeting or who want to somehow infiltrate these off-campus SU parties for a host of different reasons, whether it's to case the joint, to eventually come back and steal something, whether it's possibly to pick a fight with somebody and there could be an assault, or simply to sell drugs, which I say simply to sell drugs as if it's not that big of a deal. Of course it is, but those are sort of the
it would be a little different that the drug dealer would be coming to the student instead of the student having to find a drug dealer somewhere.
Correct.
In terms of campus culture. Students today still went about their business as usual, went to class, and here's what some of them are saying about this potential for violence near and on campus.
It definitely makes me more wary and cautious about where I'm walking, especially when it's late at night.
I stay with my friends and I also carry mace.
It reinforces the idea that you got to travel in groups in the evenings and at night, and just to be aware of your surroundings.
That's much of what the head of public safety, Chief Callisto, had to say today, saying they gave out kind of the standard list of tips. Don't travel alone. Certainly women shouldn't be doing that. Even if people are jogging or running or walking around campus with iPhones or headsets on, don't get into that tunnel vision where you're not aware of your surroundings.
So easy to do.
Yeah.
Well, in this location of Acropolis Pizza, they're coming out and saying avoid this area late at night. I was a student at Syracuse University. Sometimes we would go out at night and we would go to Acropolis maybe for a late night slice of pizza. So it's really concerning to know that they're telling people to stay away from this place. As a student, I would be very nervous.
That was, to me, that's unprecedented. To your point, your initial point about SU public safety generally being very tight-lipped.
This affects enrollment down the road. That's what the problem.
Absolutely,
can be.
And for them to, I'm characterizing it as a very unusual step for them to take to say, not only do the usual things that we always say to do when you've got safety on your mind, but to avoid a particular business during particular hours is something that I've never heard SU Public Safety say.
And as much as you said that they have been insulated, they have been somewhat of an island. Certainly in recent years, we've heard about plenty of car break-ins, serial events that go on over a period of maybe 4 to 6 weeks. There was some sexual assaults going on 2 or 3 years ago. So there have been moments. But let's say this: I give credit to Syracuse University for coming out publicly about this with everything at risk. Of course, they don't want the worst to happen, and then also for working closely with the Syracuse Police Department. That is the right thing to do.
And you know what? Listen, this is not the only campus that has had to deal with these kinds of issues. There are, campuses. Look at they're in the center of Philadelphia, for example. They have to deal with crime all the time. So it's unfortunate that SU has to deal with this right now.
For Acropolis to come out and simply say it's ridiculous, we have nothing to do with this, though, I think
that's not quite enough.
That's not quite enough. You are the owner of a long-time business on Marshall Street, quite quite successful. You're a part of this community. You do have to, whatever the university said, and I know that probably made them mad.
Yeah.
You have to come out and say a little more than just, it's ridiculous.
All right, we got to move on now.